Well, here we are with another edition of GW Unspoken, and we talk about things we don't typically talk about, but probably should. And I've got an amazing guest right now. Jamie, how are you, mate?
Hey, Gary.
Where are we? What is going on here?
This might be a first. This is a podcast in a hospital.
Mate,
so, yeah.
It's amazing, and I'm so grateful that you're here and open to do this podcast, because I know we've only met once or twice, and we've got mutual friends and that, so we've talked highly of you.
Oh, happy to be here. And
they always say you've got a great story, so I'm actually looking to investigate that a little bit more, if that's okay. And who is Jamie? 60 seconds. Who's Jamie?
He's a bloke that can't ride a bike, obviously, because he's in a wheelchair now. But he's a 54-year-old fitter that was pretty independent, did what he wanted, when he wanted, how he wanted, and loved to do things fast.
I've heard that about you. Bit of a daredevil.
Yep.
Explain where we are. Where are we right now?
So we're at St Vincent's Hospital in Brisbane, and I'm here because I've had to come in for elbow surgery. So I'm post two and a half years from when I had my accident to put me in a chair.
Yeah.
And the elbow was part of that accident, but they decided to come back to it. So they didn't want to address it at the time because I was going to be in a chair and things like that. So this was elective surgery, not critical at the time.
Yeah.
So, they've put me back here, and I've had 2 surgeries between Christmas and now on my elbow. Pretty intensive surgeries. They had to get in fairly deep and take off the tricep to get rid of some loose bone that was in that was catching me every now and then. So obviously being in a chair, my arms and my legs, right, they're critical. So, I've got to do whatever I can now to look after them. And so we elected to have surgery in January, and I'm still here. So.
And so what's the plan? What's the next plan? Like how's the recovery going now from the elbow and the tricep, and what's your planned date to hopefully get home?
Well, it's a bit scary because they're saying I'm in a plast for another 6 weeks. I originally it was early January that I had my first surgery, and that was meant to be the only one I was meant to have. They sent me home, and I was doing some stuff at home, all by the book, and then I went for a swim one day and felt it let go again. So, back for a second surgery, which is worse because when you rip and tear internally, it's a bit harder for them to fix it up again the second time around. You sort of get one shot at it. Yeah. So, they had to really open my elbow up this time, get in there and fix it up. So, expected time 6 weeks, and then that's no weight bearing or load bearing. And then after that, mate, it's just real slow. It's months to get back any sort of great strength in the tricep.
Yeah.
So, long road.
So how did it go? Like they say that when there's an injury or a trauma, you go through, anger, why me? Then, why not somebody else? You go through all these different things. Like, how does it go now with your second operation now? Are you going through those emotions as well? What gets you through, and what kind of emotions have you gone through?
Yeah, I think if I was an able-bodied person and had this sort of surgery, it would really be getting me down. It'd be flogging me pretty bad mentally, right?
Yeah.
But I think having survived the spinal injury and having to deal with that, you got to remember I was on my back for 10 months,
Do you want to regress? Are you happy to talk about that? So
of course.
The injury and how it happened and where it happened?
Yep. So it was 2021. I was racing Finke on a bike, and mind you, this is a race that I've raced since 2007. So I've been there, done it many times. The track doesn't change that much, so you're going over the same ground year after year. And, I just got caught by going into some bull dust at high speed, hit a rock and cartwheeled. What I got told by a spectator was that the bike hit me and folded me.
Holy hell.
I stayed conscious the whole time. And then from there, actually that was a pretty wild story. So when I got hit, I'm lying on the track and all you could see was dust, right? And the other bikes are coming through the dust. And
you're talking about motorbike through the trail, right?
Yeah. Through the race. And that's when I was really at that was the highest point of being scared, because I thought I was going to get hit by a oncoming bike. So a guy ran in, a good mate of mine, now after the incident, Travis, he came in and lay over me to protect me while I'm on the track, while these bikes were whizzing by. But we waited, he said we waited about 40 minutes for the first chopper, because we're 90 k's out of Alice Springs, right? We're in a remote area. There's barely any spectators. It was only by chance that he saw me. It's not like they're lining the whole track.
Yeah.
So we waited 40 minutes for the first chopper, and that turned up, and then they realised I was a spinal victim, patient. I was a spinal incident.
Yeah.
So he realised his chopper wasn't going to be any good. So I had to wait another 40 minutes for another chopper, which I could actually lie down in.
And could you feel pain at the time? Or
screaming.
Yeah.
Screaming. You know, I had, not even my back, but broke my leg in 1,000 pieces, wrists, ribs, shoulder. You know, it was pretty banged up. And then, they flew me down to Adelaide, of all places, and went down there and had surgery. Me and another fella, Royal Flying Doctor Service, they flew us down there and had surgery and did rehab down there. So it was quite strange waking up being in Adelaide.
Yeah. So tell me more about these choppers then.
Yeah, so that was interesting. The first chopper turned up and they didn't realise I was spinal. So, so I had to lie down. So he took off and buggered off, and then I'm pretty sure it was another 40 minutes, from what I was told, another 40 minutes for the second chopper. So
you're an hour and a half lying there, pain, guys helping looking after you.
Yeah. Well, I forgot we should just go back.
Yeah.
Go back half an hour or so. When I was lying there, that was the worst time. So when I was lying there screaming, I remember saying to Travis, who came running over to me, mate, can you just straighten my legs? Typical, you hear it all the time. Can you just straighten my legs? Because I thought they were just folded, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't see anything because my visor had crashed down over my eyes. So I was basically I was looking at, like having a face mask on, right?
Yeah.
Or an eye mask on. I was just looking at that, which it was okay because, believe it or not, I felt like I was in a protective bubble. I wanted to stay in this black spot because I didn't actually want to look at the outside world.
Yeah.
Because that was reality, right?
Yeah.
So I was lying there, I'm screaming, and I said to him, "Just can you straighten my legs, mate?" And he said, "They are straight." And he'll vouch for this, but it's the first thing I said. Fuck, I've lost my legs.
Oh no.
Excuse the language.
No.
So I knew straight away, and that was actually a good thing because it didn't mean I had to get pulled through the ringer about have I or have I not. The doctors don't know, they do this, like all that trauma. It was actually it was just brutal and upfront, in my own little way. And I reckon that helped a lot with my mental stability or recovery, I reckon, because it was just bang, this is it, mate. This is where you're at. This is what you're dealing with, so. But anyway, go back to the choppers. Yeah, that was interesting. The choppers was they'd loaded me with a fair bit of drugs and pain medication.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at I think ketamine is the one that they'd given me, and I remember looking at the chopper paramedic as he's holding on to me and telling me everything's going to be all right, and I'm in his bubble bag where I can't move. They've sort of bubble wrapped me.
Yeah.
And I was looking at his hands, and all I could see was Lego hands. Like it was ridiculous.
So high.
So because I'm so high. So and I remember, even though I'm high, I'm in pain, and my life's turned upside down.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, what's old mate going to do for me with his Lego hands? Like, he's no good to me. Get someone. Can we get a professional in here or what?
He's got 5 fingers and not yellow.
It was.
Oh, God.
I can look back and laugh at it.
Now again, yeah.
Yeah, but at the time. They flew me down to Adelaide, which I had surgery down there. 2 of us flew down, a local boy, Bradley. He came down on the Royal Flying Doctor Service with me, and we both went to, I can't remember the name of the hospital, but we both had surgery the same night, I think. And, we both went to rehab, but we had very different journeys. So I knew nothing about spinal injury.
Yeah.
Like most people, unless you're dealing with it or have experienced it or know someone with it, I knew nothing about it. So I didn't know much about the spinal cord or anything like that. And the spinal cord, in reality, is still crystal ball stuff even to this day. That's why they can't fix it. They're still trying and trying and trying. So what I was doing was picking everyone's brains. Anyone that was sitting in front of me in a wheelchair, had a nurse's outfit on, doctor's outfit on, like just questions, to the point where I was annoying.
Yeah.
But so what? I wanted to know as much as I could. And Bradley was lucky. So we sort of, our journey started, the first couple of weeks we were pretty much the same. We had no feeling. So my injury is, you could say, belly button height.
Yeah.
And I'm what's called a T10 incomplete, which means I didn't sever my spinal cord, I just crushed it. So I didn't completely wreck it.
Okay.
So that's why it's called incomplete.
Yeah.
Whereas you've completely done yourself in, right?
Yeah. But what does that mean, that you can't move your legs, you can move your arms, is that right?
So depending on the level, so when I say belly button height, and when I say T10, I'm talking about the
thoracic.
The level in your back whereabouts is broken.
Yeah.
So if you think of your neck as 1 and then your bum as 12,
yeah,
you sort of gives you an idea. So T10 is around about belly button height.
Yeah.
And because it's incomplete, so you could sort of think of it as I squashed the hose.
Yeah.
So a little bit of water
Makes
getting
sense.
through.
Yeah.
So I have some movement and some sensations.
Yeah.
Which vary. Sometimes I can sit there and try my darndest and nothing will happen. And other times I can sit on the end of the bed and kick my legs out. It's so weird, right? You think it's just not consistent anymore.
Yeah.
But getting back to Bradley and and my story, learning about spinal, we both sort of started off the same, similar level injuries. His was a bit lower. And the lower the injury, the more chance you have of recovery.
Okay.
And lucky bugger, 6 weeks later, he walked out. So in my mind, I thought, because I knew nothing about it, right? I thought, mate, you just got to hang in there. Just wait your turn.
It'll be me. My turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
Go to rehab, do what they say you got to do, whatever it takes. Anyway, nearly 3 years later, it just didn't work for me, right? But because people can have very similar injuries on paper, look, you could have identical injuries on paper and totally different outcomes. So that's what I mean by the spinal being still crystal ball, magical. I mean, people understand it, but there's no
cure for it.
There's no cure for it. So
and I just can't like what we experience, the emotions. I'm just trying to picture almost selfish. I don't know how I'd go. You're sitting on top across from the table here, and we can hear the nurses talking, and we're in the middle of the hospital. You can hear in the background. Mm. It's legit. This is a legitimate story. This is legitimate. You here. Mm-hmm. Surely there must have been time where you were wild, angry. Did you have thoughts of what's the point? Did you go through those stuff?
Mate, for sure. The highs and lows are really, really high and really, really low.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse me. So, suicide, you think about that. You lose your identity. So I was a fitter, single. I was dating. I was doing things. I just bought a house. I had paid for bikes and cars in cash. So wasn't outlandish, but I was comfortable.
Yeah.
And I was a guy that was handy with his hands. I could fix things, So I can't change a light bulb now. So you lose your identity. You don't know who you are. You actually got to find yourself again. You got to go, right, what have I got to offer? What's my skill sets for one? What have I got to offer? In terms of personal life, what have I got to offer a female companion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how long does it take to get that? Are you still going through that now, or did you go? Okay, now it's time to find my new purpose and passion, because all the things I could do, like you said, fixing things and working things and riding your bikes flat out, and to go, okay, well, what can I now offer? Mm. Did that take a while? Is it still happening now?
Still happening.
Okay.
Yeah. But you get better at it. So I'm not floundering. like I was at the start.
Okay.
You know, now I've got a bit of direction. I know what my capabilities are physically, mentally.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get more comfortable with what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But at the start, you're deer in headlights. You just got no idea. Your mind goes to mush, or mine did, because you just don't know, and you're like a pinball. You're just bouncing from highs and lows of emotions. You know, it's hard to look people in the eye because you just don't want them to keep saying sorry. Like, you know, one of our common friends, Brendan Jones, he rang me up one day, and I'm in rehab. I'm in the gym, and I'm still working out who I am and what I can do. You know, I knew I had to just do something. Like I use distraction as one of my key things. So if I'm starting to fall in a hole mentally, I tell myself, change my environment.
Yep.
Change. It could be get up out of bed and have a shower. It could be, you know, go for a roll, do something.
Yep.
You know, but do something. That was the key for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was going to the gym. I wasn't doing much. I was just lifting little weights, you know, 2-3 kilos, but I was just trying to do something.
Yeah.
And it was good because he rang up and having a bit of a chat. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Mate, just in the gym, you know." And he goes, "What are you doing, leg day?" And and straight away it hit a chord because that's what I needed. I just needed I just needed mate banter. I need my mates to just treat me like there was nothing different.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to feel different. I wanted to feel normal, right?
Yeah.
So,
which is hard for both, isn't it? Like it's hard for you know, I'm envious of the stuff that you've done already in life. Going, like I can't even fix things. You can fix things, and you know, bikes and cars and all the stuff you've done. And so I'm already envious of some things you've done in your life, you know. And now you're saying that, well, that was taken away from me.
Yeah.
And now I don't want people to treat me any different.
Yeah. But that gets taken away from me too, right? Because mates don't know how to talk to you. Not everyone knows how to talk to you because they've seen you in one platform or one capability or one, I don't know, persona.
Yeah.
And now they've got you're a bloke in a chair that is struggling to go down the street because he can't use the wheelchair properly, you know. So that was really hard. But, you know, there's a couple of solid mates that I've got that did give me exactly that.
Yeah.
Just kept at me with being normal. And I really needed that.
And that's, I guess that was a question I was going to ask you. Like you said you had a partner or your girlfriend and stuff, but did you have a big support network when it occurred? Did you have people around you?
Family was good. My sister, who I'm very close with, she would, and the rest of my family. But she, you got to remember this happened mid-COVID, right? So even getting around, I'm in Adelaide. It's hard for them to even fly anywhere to come and see me. So I'm isolated for a while.
Yeah.
But she flew down and spent some time with me, which was really good.
Yeah.
And but yeah, mainly family.
Okay.
You know, my family's really good. They the old man's always pumping my tyres up and, you know, keeping me solid. So, but yeah, I've got a good network.
Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, you also try and do as much as you can. You know, I've always lived an independent sort of lifestyle, so I try and do as much as I can. Like, so when I reach out, I'm really reaching out.
Yeah, at that point.
You know, so I don't just reach out at the spur of a hat.
Yeah.
I'll struggle with something for a while until I go, "No, hey, listen." And typically it's me ringing my sister.
Okay,
I'll ring her and say, hey, and she'll just know as soon as I start talking. Not because I'm a sober mess, but I'll be flat. She can read me. So I can ring her and just start having a chat, and she knows how to sort of get me back on the track. You know, keep me focused. So yeah.
And you're talking about your independence and you're a strong independent guy. Have you always been like that? If you look back at childhood and primary school and secondary school, what was Jamie like there? Was he a little daredevil? And
yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons I used to love going back to Alice Springs and racing Finke. I mean, one, I've always been a daredevil, but I love the territory. That's where I did most of my childhood growing up. You know, I lived outside of Alice Springs, lived in Alice Springs, Catherine, Darwin, pretty much all over the territory.
Yeah.
And that rural outback lifestyle breeds independence, right?
Yeah.
You got to know how to do things. Otherwise, you know, you got to be about solutions, not, you know, problems. So if something pops up, we'll fix it. Yeah, find a solution. So, Dad was good like that. You know, I learned so much of him, watching him, you know, just get by. I mean, we've broken down in the middle of nowhere and fixed the car with a Swiss Army knife and, you know, done all sorts of things. So my childhood, you know, he bought us motorbikes at a young age. And so, yeah, I loved going back to the territory and that was probably why and who I am. That sort of moulded me into what I am today.
Yeah.
You know, I moved to Brisbane even though my family was in Sydney.
Yeah.
I moved to Brisbane because Sydney was too fast, but I moved up here by myself, right?
Yeah.
So I was comfortable to do that, you know, just to wing it, come up here. You know, this is going back 20 plus years, but come up here, it was nice back then. It was nice and slow, which is what I liked.
Yeah.
So yeah, the territory moulded me, definitely that country type lifestyle.
Yeah. And
sure.
So you reckon you talk about independence and Dad showing you, you know, a bit of rites of passage stuff there, how to be a man, fix things like you said. So do you think that did help when you had injury? That you did start thinking solutions orientated sort of quicker? Or was it completely different? Like
No, you're on it. I do. So once I started to get some clarity, and then I, you know, got home. Once I got out of hospital, and then got home and had to address all those issues. My brain started to. Once you get your brain going, you start to get momentum, right? So, but it's the hard thing is to get that momentum, get that start going. And once I got home and had to start finding solutions, like how do I shower? How do I do this? How do I do that? How am I going to set up my house now because it's got to be wheelchair accessible? How do I drive my van that's, you know, the seat height's 2 feet above me? How do I get into that? Because it hadn't been modified yet with ramps and things like that. Like I had to be all about problem solving.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, as a fitter, I suppose that's part of my makeup anyway. You know, I'm always fixing problems.
Yeah.
So I've done that all my life. So yeah, I think it did help. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about how that would happen. And what about I'm still trying to get into your childhood, but you seem to be passing this. I'm talking about. I can see you across. I'm teachers. I'm looking across thinking a bit of cheekiness there for sure. Girls, parties. Was the territory big for that? Alice Springs big for that, or?
I think all my partying started when I got to Sydney.
Okay.
So I was lucky enough to get a job with Qantas very early on. Did my apprenticeship with Qantas in the maintenance, and just living the Sydney lifestyle. You know, with a bunch of rascals, was good. Got wild. Yeah. I probably should have been in a chair a lot earlier. Some of the things that we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I probably shouldn't say that. I remember going to work one day sitting on the roof of my car. We'd seen it in a movie. I think it might have been, was it a Jackass thing? But I had a combi, right? And what they did is the driver got out of the driver's window and climbed onto the roof, and the passenger just jumped across into the driver's seat. And the idea was just to
rotate around.
Yeah, but via the roof. Well, I got to the roof bit and I was too scared to get back in. So I ended up just holding on to the roof until we got to work. Jumped off and carried on. So
back into work.
Yeah, mate. So things were wild. Yeah,
things way to wake up.
Yeah, I was awake after that. Don't worry about that. I was really ready.
So doing that crazy stuff, right? Can you pinpoint a moment? Was there an actual moment in your life that made Jamie go, almost F it, I'm going 100 miles an hour. I'm attacking things flat out. Because when I talk to Rachel about it, she's like, mate, ever since I've known he has just been obligated everything. Was there something was there a moment, an experience? Was it something that actually said, that's it, life, I'm this, or?
No. What I have is an ability, and it took me a long time to recognise this, so that's a good question, but I did recognise it probably maybe 15 years ago or something, so quite late on. I have an ability to forget what just happened. So I can, I've raced bikes and done bikes all my life. I can have let's say it's a near death experience, and just forget it in an instant. So just carry on.
Right.
When I say forget it, not forget it, but don't soak in how close that was. I don't dwell on like, oh Jesus, heart beating. Oh my God, don't ever do that again. No, just click down a gear and carry on, right back on the gas. So I have that. I'm not saying it's a skill. It's just I just know that's how my brain works.
But is that because of love of risk?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dopamine you get, excitement you get for risk.
Oh yeah, when you, like anyone says, if you can control being on the edge, it's such a good feeling. You know, if you know that you could crash and really hurt yourself. You know, when I started racing Finke, I used to, and I'm telling Finke stories because obviously it's relatable to put me in a chair, but I used to wear a lot of protective gear, chest plates, you know, protectors, neck braces, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And just over time, I just got acclimatized or comfortable with the speed. It's a bit like when you drive a car, you can do 60 around town, you get onto the freeway and you do 110, you know, for a couple of hours. As soon as you get back to 60, you think you can get out and walk because you're acclimatized to doing 110. So I just got comfortable with speed. So I would, over the years, just lose a piece of the protective gear. You know, so when I crashed this time, I had nothing but a jersey and a camelback on, you know, so, and those jerseys aren't real thick.
No.
So,
but it probably wouldn't have made a difference anyway, would it?
Mate, I don't know. Yeah, don't know.
No.
I mean, these days they got airbag systems now that people can wear. Yeah, for motorbikes. So it's a vest that you can wear and it has shock sensors in it.
Yeah. And
as soon as it senses a sudden impact, it blows up and protects your core. So from your waist up, waist to your neck. It's a bit like they explode so quickly, a bit like aeroplane life vests. You know, they say pull the cord and it quickly blows up. Same sort of setup, similar setup with a little air bottle in it.
Jeez.
Yeah. So technology's coming along.
I wouldn't want to have one on the way to school, mate, with a teacher just walking, going to difficult class and pump up.
I need one for this chair. I've fallen out of this chair a few times already.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's been it's been fairly recent, hasn't it, really? And so obviously you're talking to me now and you're coming up with some, you're finding out some new ideas, new goals, what's new passions and purposes. Do you have a 2 or 5 year plan? Do you have something now you're like, I know you said you're having still ups and downs and that kind of stuff, which is completely obviously normal.
Yeah.
But do you have like a passion or purpose now where you've got a new goal?
Yeah, it's still racing, but it's in a buggy. Okay. That's something I'm passionate about. I've always loved driving. You know, I used to have go-karts and things like that. So I've always loved it. And I just don't know why I didn't get into it. I think I love the social aspect of bikes, right? Yeah. You know, because it was always a group of you going for a squirt in the dirt. And so I guess I just stayed with it. I mean, I love riding, no doubt about it. But if you would ask me what I really love, I love driving. I love driving fast. So, you know, by my situation, I've got an opportunity now to get into that. So that's what I'm passionate about at the moment. You know, apart from the normal things like getting my house and stuff set up, which was always a necessity, not so much a passion. Yeah. So I've got those things sort of behind me now.
Yeah.
So looking forward, I really want to give this off-road racing a go.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be part of the competitors. I want to be competitive.
Yeah.
You know, so
you want to win.
I just want to get in and, you know, because also in my mind, it's level playing field, right? And as simple as it sounds, but we're all sitting down, right? Who's got an advantage over me? No
That's such a good mindset, mate. That's unbelievable.
So who's you know, we're all equal. So
that's so good. so brilliant.
Well, but that's what it is. Like, you know, I wouldn't be picking a sport where I had a disadvantage, but no, I love driving, and part of it is the fact that look, we're on a level playing field. Yeah. So
and so when is it? When's the goal to do it? Is it an annual event, or how often does it happen?
So the first big race I'm aiming for is to get back to Finke.
Okay.
Yeah. I said that when I crashed, I got interviewed by Channel 7 down in Adelaide, and that's the first thing I said. I'm going back racing in a buggy, right? If I can't do it on 2 wheels, I'll do it on 4 wheels. So I need to fulfill that. Not that it's a promise to anyone, it's a promise to myself, but I want to make that happen.
Well, that's your passion, right?
Yeah.
That's who you are.
So so hopefully back at Finke this year, getting a buggy modified so that I can use it with hand controls, and so I can get in and out of it, that was a challenge in itself, because to get your license, to get your off-road license, there's a governing body called CAMS, or Motorsport Australia.
Okay, yeah.
And one of the requirements is you have to be able to get out of the car in under 10 seconds. So you have to be fully buckled up, helmet on, all closed up, and they hit the stopwatch and they go, right, get out within 10 seconds. So I got out in 9.5 seconds.
Oh, yes. Of course you did.
So
First go.
I had plenty of room to move. It was easy. But to do that, we had to modify the car, the roll cage, because most off-road cars, you get in through the window, right?
Yeah.
And there's just no way that I could do it. So we had to modify the roll cage to their approval to give me a bit more clearance to get in and out.
Yeah.
And, some grab handles here and there. But again, it comes to that mindset, like, okay, well, tell me what I got to do. Like, in my mind, right, there's a solution to every problem. And the people that make it are the guys that are patient enough and persistent enough to find that solution. A lot of people just pull up at the first hurdle, right?
Yeah.
No, it can't be done. What do you mean it can't be done? Have you tried every solution? Yeah, I've tried everything. No, have you really tried everything? And it's the guys that go, hang on, just stand back, give me a sec. Let me nut this out. Let me sort it.
There'll be a workaround somewhere.
Let me work around something. Because there is literally, tell me a problem there's no, apart from spinal injury.
Well, that's not true. I was going to say that. That's not true, because you're doing that now. But you're doing that now. Yes, the cure, or yes, the fixing up and the remedy of that, but you are now going back to think where you want to go back.
Correct.
And that's a workaround.
Yeah.
You said you couldn't do it on a motorbike necessarily now, but look what you've done.
I didn't look at it like that, but yeah.
And it's one of your goals.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. You can just see it in your face. You can just see this is the
ready to
I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
And you've done the massive workaround.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't think of it like that, but yeah. Yeah, mate, there's a problem in every solution. You just got to be stubborn. You got to when I see other people in wheelchairs and I see them and I know they're just starting out and they're going through the horrors of learning what I went through. I tell them it's okay to actually be stubborn. It's okay to be selfish, because right now it is actually about you. So bugger everyone else. Don't try and be polite about this. If you need something done, or you need someone, you need something that's going to be better for yourself right now, then make it happen. Even if, you might hurt some feelings along the way, but it's your life. Like, you're in a chair right now, so you don't have to be that polite.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came across right, but you know what I mean? But initially it's got to be about you, right? Just sort yourself out, sort your surroundings out, sort your environment out, sort your brain space out. But yeah, just be stubborn. But yeah.
And I heard before you talked a lot about mindset too, and mindset workarounds. So you've got obviously that in your brain as well.
Yeah.
Is there a characteristic that you see in humans at the moment where you sit back and go, mate, you got it wrong? Like, is there something that really frustrates you, a human characteristic at the moment? Does that make sense? Like, is there something you see people and go, mate, come on?
I think that's a broad question. I think in general, our society, we're just losing those old school values. We're losing respect, we're losing politeness, we're losing to use a few basic words like please and thank you. We're losing the fact that we don't respect someone's personal space. So, standing on trains and all this sort of stuff. Like, you'd see people not respecting their elders anymore. Like, we just elderly people, we're just losing some of those fundamentals. We're turning into a weak sort of society based around the fact that everyone's too scared to get sued, or there's some sort of consequence. But yeah, it's getting crazy, and I don't know what's going to fix it. I think we're too far deep. We're too far gone to fix it.
Yeah. I'm going to keep asking these broad questions because your answers are amazing. Mate. It's just amazing. So it's crazy. And so do you think that is something like our podcast is called Unspoken, stuff that we should talk about but we don't. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think that's the things that a lot of people walk around with their masks on and pretend and fake and aren't their authentic self?
Well, social media's got a big thing to answer for because you can hide behind a keyboard, but everything's about impressing, right? Well, impress me by saying thank you, or please, not by because you've got the latest this or the latest that.
A million likes,
yeah.
Some people you don't know.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so, yeah. Hit me with that question again. I just had a brain fart.
No, just about unspoken. We talk about people who like the authentic self.
Oh, it's right. Yeah. I love it. I love it when I hear someone on social media say something like, a relevant thing these days is juveniles that are breaking into houses and getting away with it, right?
Yeah.
I love it when someone just gets on and says, have consequences. Like, why aren't there consequences? As much as it wasn't good at the time, but a little clip back in the day actually kept me in line, right? I learnt respect.
Yeah.
I learnt my place, I suppose. But look at me, I still grew up to be independent, free, but I knew social boundaries.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And people don't have it these days.
Great term.
Yeah, so I love it. Yeah, when someone gets on and says, right, well, why don't we do something constructive? And if these kids are continually, at 15 or even younger, they're making smart decisions themselves about how to break into cars. They're either learning these things from other people. They're smart enough to know the consequences. They're also smart enough to know they can get away with it.
That's right.
So I just don't understand why we keep letting them off. Surely we can't. Why can't we put them into the armed forces for 4 years or something?
Yeah.
Straighten them out. Give something back.
Discipline.
Give
back.
They'll come out of that place a better human being. But yeah, that's yeah. So I love it when someone speaks up and speaks up from a place that I've just described, like
common sense.
Well, common sense is definitely lost. Yeah.
I think it was Tony Robbins he was talking about in his book. Now I'll probably get the country wrong, so don't get me wrong. Well, I'm sorry if I do get this wrong, but he's saying that even in America, it was costing the jail systems like $30,000 a year just to keep an inmate in there because they got their own toilet, their own cell. They were safe. Yeah. The person had their own social boundaries. They knew where they were. They could do fitness. Yeah. Fed 5 meals a day. Yep. And so when they did get a pardon and got out of jail, they almost committed crime. 80% of them committed crime to get back into that safety. Yeah. But I think it was Norway or something like that.
I've heard.
Is it Norway or Finland? And they actually put them into jail, but they put them straight to confinement.
Right.
And didn't say how long. Didn't say they're going to be fed. Dark cell. Yeah. And people are freaking out, going, "Oh, how long? What's going on?" And didn't tell them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they still fed them.
They survived.
They survived.
Yeah.
But they reckoned that it was like ridiculous. It was like the return on investment was ridiculous because they wanted to get out. They wanted to serve others. I did not want to be in that space.
Yeah.
And
we could learn something from them.
Well, and I'm not saying we put everyone in a dungeon to straighten them up, but there's like you said, it's the same in the profession of teaching. People say to me, well, kids choose engage. What's the secret? There's no secret. It's old school. It's firm, fair, consistent, and have a bit of fun with them. It's not, but there are consequences.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. I think you're right. I think a lot of times we don't have the consequences because we're too scared that they're going to be too harsh.
Yeah. And we just too many people are ready to jump on the bandwagon if you did discipline someone. So. Yeah, that's another channel, that's another avenue, but that's a deep channel like that. I've never been big on politics, but it creates a lot of noise, isn't it? If you said something wrong that someone doesn't like, that's just a lot of noise, and it blows up social media, and so it's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's just simple, mate. We just need to learn. We just need to learn those basics. But how do we get those basics back, and where does it start? That's a how long's a piece of string as well.
That's right. Well, someone's got to go cause an action, have a momentum, for a change in culture and that stuff as well.
Yeah.
You're a good connector. You're a good communicator. What's the secret? You talked to me off air before about suddenly maybe talking to other people who had spinal injuries and stuff like that. Like, you'd be amazing at that. What's the secret?
Sometimes it's, I don't know, sometimes it's being vulnerable. Sometimes it's being, you share something about yourself that's deeper than skin deep, right? Or surface. That's not just on the surface. People open up because, we've all got a backstory. We've all got problems, right?
Correct.
We're not all just, life's not all glamour and hope, you could be walking past someone down the street. You don't know whether they've just broken up with their husband, their mum's died. Like, you just don't know. Just because they're smiling at you, looking at, like, we've all got a backstory.
Yeah.
And if you share something about yourself, you will get something back.
Yeah.
It literally is a mirror. I found.
Yeah.
And I was never good at talking. I was never good at sharing. You know, I was independent, but unless it was with mates or something like that.
Yeah.
But through my spinal injury and through the want to, through the want to help me in my own journey, and this comes back to me a little bit selfish, but I found that by talking to other people with spinal injuries that are fresh spinal injuries and sharing my story and what I found, I'm offloading a little bit, right? I'm offloading that weight on my shoulders a little bit because I'm sharing, I'm talking. And, you know, when you talk and you share, you feel better, believe it or not.
Yeah, you do.
I didn't realise that, right? So that's what I do. So I love every time I've got an appointment at the PA hospital, I make sure that I go back down to the spinal ward and I cruise along, and I might see someone that just looks a bit flat. They're sitting there where I was. Who am I? What am I? You know, I know what's going through their head. So I might swing by and might only take eye contact, you know, and then a wave, and then it might be, oh, hi. And then next thing you know, they say, listen, next time you're in, can you drop in? You know, because these poor buggers are doing what I was doing. They're lying in bed just wondering what they're like.
And they're looking for connection.
They're looking for connection. So, so I don't know if there's a secret, but I suppose sharing.
Yeah.
Being brave enough. I mean, it's being vulnerable is scary, right? Because what's going to come back in return? Are you going to talk to someone that's going to already just have the walls up and just bounce it off and like, oh, you whatever? Or are you going to make a real connection? Because if you make a real connection, there's something quite, what's the word, pleasant in that connection.
Yeah.
Right? It's an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not as shallow as, hey, how you going? What have you been doing? Oh, yeah, right. Like your shoes, you know, or oh, your hair looks nice.
Yeah.
It's talking about real feelings, real things.
Yeah, how you really going?
Hey, how are you really going? Like, and I've experienced that through this injury. So, and I enjoy it. Yeah. And it's
you've got a gift. I think you should use that.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I'd love to do some more of it. So
guest speaking maybe.
Yeah, if there's anyone who wants to get speaker,
journey.
Come and grab me.
I reckon unbelievable.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, it's cool. It's just, you know, we did a couple of podcasts about, you know, how do you really feel that belonging? How do you really have that authentic interactions and communication? And it's that word, it's vulnerability, because when you share vulnerability, you can be really open. You take those masks off, you know, and that's an important thing.
Actually, I'll stop for a sec. I went, I was chatting to my sister today and she said something to me that's still ringing in my ears. And I was talking about what I'd done and how I'd gone back and was talking to one of the patients, right? And they were flat and I was saying exactly a bit what we've talked about today. Like, you know, I was telling her, you got to change your environment. You know, you got to do this and that. And she said to me, misery loves company. And I was like, man, that's strong.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
And so, you know, mate, don't be company to misery. Like,
it's the associations too, isn't it? It's all those things.
So there you go. That's my sister. She's the one that gives all the good advice. I'm just the conduit.
No, that's the name of your first seminar, mate. You just write it down. You can copyright it. So thanks, sis.
Thanks, sis.
All right, mate. It's time for a bit of fun. Is that all right?
Sure.
All right. This is going to be really professional, so this could go anywhere. Thanks for sharing it. That's amazing. Your story's amazing. I think you're going to positively affect a lot of people if you can get out and do what you're doing. So
nice. Thanks.
Total respect. Quick responses. First thing that comes to your mind, favourite car?
Holden Monaro.
Favourite bike?
ATM 500.
CBR 1000. Do you have a favourite movie?
Oh, no, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Is there a genre you like?
Oh, action.
Action. John Wick?
More of The Rock sort of a fella. Jason Statham, those sorts of boys. Okay. Yeah. Boys that can, you know,
The Alphas?
punch. Huh? The Alphas?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah. Favourite music?
I'm down for country.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a country rule in our house.
What's that?
3 songs max. That's it. It's gone.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, I have to go.
I'll bounce between AC/DC and country for some reason. Yeah. Or heavy. And then, country, but mainly country.
Good on you. Do you have a favourite saying? Oh, you've got one from your sister.
Favourite saying? Oh, I got to stop saying all good.
All good?
Yeah, mate, it's all good.
That's the territory thing.
Yeah, maybe it's all good. Yeah, I've got to stop saying that because that's just a knee-jerk response, right? It's not what we're just talking about. It's nothing. It's shallow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got to stop saying that.
That's all right. I got any favourite vegetable? I don't know why we said that for.
Favourite vegetable? Peas and corn. Peas and corn with a lot of salt and pepper, hot.
You know what you like. That's...
I think it comes from, you go to Eka and you get the corn.
Oh, yeah.
So I try and do that at home. It doesn't taste the same, but I've expanded on it because I'm a chef. I've added peas.
Do you have a worse vegetable?
Eggplant.
Yeah, I always say that, but only because I didn't like the look of it.
Yeah.
Favourite meal?
Oh, it used to be mum's roast. Oh, I would legit drive from Brisbane to Sydney, and I'd ring mum. I'd go up and down a bit, and I'd ring mum, and she'd always know why I was ringing. Hey, mum, how you going? Just
how far away are you?
I'm just coming down. She goes, oh, put a roast on, and she's a bit old now and doesn't do it. But the good thing is my sister cooks like my mum.
Oh yeah,
so she's taken over, and yeah, mate, I could 2-3 plates of that stuff without a doubt. Easy.
Nice. Do you have like a favourite dessert then? Do you have something with the roast?
Oh, yeah. Young lady, Marnie, put me onto the connoisseur vanilla. I can go through a litre tub in a sitting.
It's nice. It's ice cream?
Yeah, it's ice cream. Yeah, just normal ice cream, but it's vanilla. So,
have a go crack.
Well, let me tell you a quick backstory of that. So, we were dating for a while, and I got COVID. And with COVID, you lose your taste buds.
Yeah.
And I was always mad on blue ribbon vanilla ice cream. Yeah. Anyway, one day she gave me, I thought she gave me blue ribbon, but she gave me this connoisseur vanilla. And I was rejoicing. I was like, my taste buds are back. This is sweet. Oh my God, this is so good. They're back, thinking I was eating blue ribbon. I said, oh, that's the best blue ribbon I've ever had. I can't believe it. Taste buds are back. She went, no, it's something different. I was like, what? Oh. But I could taste it anyway, but it was a different ice cream. But yeah, vanilla.
Good on you, mate. All right. Have to have a crack. You have a favourite chocolate bar?
Yeah, white chocolate, Milky Bar.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't mess with all those other imitators. Dark chocolate and all that stuff.
Oh,
no,
please.
No.
Please. Do you know what the worst is when someone buys like old Jamaica and you think, fruit and nut, you're like, what is that? And no, Sharon, you don't like that, do you? Like, well, I know.
If you're smart, you buy something that no one else eats.
That's right.
But in I noticed Jonesy puts a few things on the top shelf of the fridge, but I can't reach it.
So, is that right?
Yeah, he just likes to hide things, just puts it there and goes, it'll be there next time I come and visit, so. Okay. But I've worked out how to use tongs. So I was
going to say, get one of those little claw things.
No, I got him.
Keep on top of him, mate. What about pastime hobby? Fixing things, was it?
Old cars. I love mucking around with cars.
Yeah.
Doing up utes, and I had an old EJ that I loved. But yeah, just tinkering. Like I love to just tinker. Like I could go in the shed, not have any idea what I'm doing, but then next I'm fixing something. And I think a lot of blokes are like that. You go to Bunnings looking for one thing, and you walk out with everything but that thing, right? Because we love the look of glitter, and of course that blower. I need another blower. I've got 6, but I need another one. Look at this one; it's got reverse cycle or some bullshit on it, So,
mate, I'm the opposite. I go into Bunnings looking for some tools and come back with a sausage. That's about it. All right, word association. Ready? Word that comes up first thing again with these ones. Risk.
Fast.
Life.
To be lived.
Hospitals.
Home.
Hospital staff.
Amazing jobs.
Friends.
Solid when you find good ones.
Netflix.
My companion at the moment.
Love.
Still looking for it.
Okay. Family.
Can't do without it.
Nice. All right, we got 3 questions to go.
Righto.
Jamie's down to his last $20. What's he doing with it?
He's probably buying a motorbike part. Fresh grips on the bike.
Of course he is.
Or filling the tank up.
I know you said that before you'd love your mum's roast and now your sister's roast, but if you'd have a last meal right now, what would it be?
Yeah, roast.
It would be?
Yeah.
With the ice cream in the back?
Yeah, with an ice cream chaser for sure.
Okay. On a deserted island, you can take 3 other people, anyone in the world. Who are you taking and why?
I'd take my sister because, she's good for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably take Mike Tyson and for protection, and I'd probably take Michael Jordan because he could grab the coconuts out of the tree. So I've got my food, I've got protection, and I've got giggles.
That's gold.
So I reckon I'm sweet.
That's gold. You know, I asked someone this the other day. I said, like, who were three, and they only came up with two. I said, what are the third one? No, more chance if we make a raft and 2 of us or 3 of us survive on these boards.
He's optimistic that he's going to get off.
Well played. Okay, right.
Good.
So Mike Tyson, because it just protects you on the island cases.
Yeah, I don't know who he's protecting us from. Probably each other.
Yeah, well.
But you never know. You might get pirates.
Mate, I've got a last one in, I did say 3, but I want to ask one more.
Mm-hmm.
You're fresh out of having a spine injury, right? With all due respect, and people have now suddenly lost the ability to walk, and you're there to connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
What's the advice?
Is just work on your mental game, work on being present, work on the fact that as much as you hear it and say it, it does slowly get better. You're in a hole, and I understand you're in a hole, and there's no fixing that, right? There's no short-term fix. You be fully aware that there's no short-term fix, but that doesn't mean you don't get out of that hole, right?
Yeah.
You just got to be stubborn with all these things that we talked on. You just got to be stubborn and go, right. Mercy's not having company, not having my company anyway. Yeah, and just head down and just work on your mental game.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it, mate. Like, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, cool.
And
Thanks.
a privilege to be in here. And the noise around us and makes it so surreal, but just to give up your story, mate, and to be so authentic and vulnerable. We talked about that, and so full of gratitude and wishing you all the best.
Yeah, mate, thank you.
And looking forward to that, hearing how that race goes too, by the way.
Yeah, no, listen, I've had a great time. It's been good.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, mate.
Okay.